All right, so in this video, I want to break down how not every calorie is the same. Calories are different. You hear a lot in when experts or companies, weight loss companies, are talking about weight loss. They say, just limit your calories. Just cut 500 calories per day, and you'll lose 1 pound a week because there's 3,500 calories in in 1 pound of fat. But that's really not true. So let me break this down. So again, they say calories in versus calories out. If you're expending more calories than you're bringing in, well, then you're going to lose weight. Again, not true. Um, another lie is dietary fat. If you're eating a lot of fat, high fat foods, you're going to uh, create body fat and become fat. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it, from a logical standpoint, that eating fat will create more fat. I was watching this doctor, so called doctor, in this video before I started talking here, making this video, and he says, "Well, what you eat is fat, just becomes fat." He said, "What you put in your lips goes to your hips," which is just totally illogical. And I want to get to this point where, yes, different calories. Now, again, a calorie from sugar is way different than a calorie from fat or protein. Or calorie. If you eat a candy bar that has 250 grams or 250 calories in it, which most of them are from sugar, or you eat a like spaghetti made of refined carbs from refined flour, it's much different than eating nuts or high quality meats or eggs. Your body uses those calories in much different ways. And again, it's complex. Again, they try to simple things down for people like, oh, again, calories in. If I'm taking in 2,000 calories per day, but I'm expending, or if I'm taking in 2,000 and then I reduce that number to 1,700, well, I'm going to lose weight over time, right? No, our body's complex. It has hormones that regulate fat loss. For example, in the process of insulin, our body does not burn off fat. There's also other hormones like growth hormone that stimulate fat loss, and lipase and testosterone and adrenaline. That it's a very complex process. It's not just, oh, you eat fat, you're going to get fat. And also, you see a lot of literature out there saying low carb diets or high fat diets lead to weight loss or whatever. I really don't like when studies do that, because there's good carbs, there's bad carbs, there's good fats, there's bad fats. I mean, when you say high fat, are you talking corn oil? Are you talking canola oil? Or are we talking high quality fats? Same thing with carbs. Are we talking refined carbs, or are we talking, some of the better carbs like brown rice, like beans, like moderate amounts of fruits? And also the metabolism too. So what happens when you go on a low calorie diet, a calorie restricted diet? You might lose weight at first. And again, when you lose weight, that's another broad term, because are we losing fat weight? Are we burning off fat, or are we losing water weight or lean muscle mass? So what happens is, and I'm going to talk about a study later. What happens when you go on a calorie restricted diet? Your metabolism is going to drop because you're taking in less calories, and your body adapts to the lesser amount of calories you're taking in, and your metabolism is going to go down. So you're going to lose a lot of energy. You're not going to have energy to exercise or to walk around. You're going to be very low in energy because your metabolism's lowering, so you burn less calories. So your body's eventually going to adapt, and you're going to plateau, and you're going to reach a set point where you're not going to lose any more weight. And then you might say, hey, I'm just going to keep cutting the calories, and your metabolism's just going to keep going down, and it's just not going to work. And another process that I want to talk about is DNL. So what happens when you eat carbs? They're either used as immediate energy, stored as glycogen in the liver and muscles. But when those two things are used, if you've already used carbs for energy, you got enough immediate energy, and you've already stored, your liver and your muscles store about 2,000 calories worth of carbs. So if you've already of glycogen. So if you've already, if those two things are good, carbs are going to be stored as fat. people don't understand that. It's not fat that turns into fat. Fat is used for energy. Fat is used, again, calories are different. Fat is used to repair the body. It's used for hormones. It's used for a lot of things in the body. We have essential fatty acids. And this is what I'm getting to now. There are no essential carbs, but you have essential fatty acids. You have essential proteins, amino acids, but there are no essential carbs. Now, when we eat carbs, we might get some minerals, we might get some vitamins that are essential, but we don't get any essential carbs. You have essential fats and essential proteins that are used for repairing your body, hormones, tissues, you name it. But carbs aren't used for anything. So another way that calories are different. So yeah, DNL, when you've already had enough energy, immediate energy, and enough storage of glycogen, that goes to carbs. And I was that turns to fat. And I was watching again, that same idiotic doctor said, "Oh, that doesn't happen." He never brought up this process. He kept going with the dietary fat equals body fat. And lastly, before I get to the study, I'm going to talk about that. When you're put on a calorie restricted diet, you're going to be more hungry probably, unless you're eating a lot of fat. And most of the time, when somebody's put on a calorie restricted diet, they put them on a high carb diet too, or a low fat diet. You hear the low fat diet, right? Well, that leaves people cravings. It leaves them hungry because they're not eating as many calories. It leaves them with less energy, like I was talking about. So you're gonna get, a lot of people fail with their diets. Why is that? Because they're hungry. Cutting calories is going to make you hungry and not going to lose weight either. You might lose weight, in the first part of it, but eventually you're going to gain a lot of it back. And that's why most diets in America fail, because people aren't hungry, aren't full. They're not eating enough. They're not eating the right things. Again, it's what you eat, not how much you eat. And obviously, the doctors and nutritionists, the dietitians aren't doing a good job of providing patients with good diets because they're failing. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, fat people are just lazy." I don't doubt that. I mean, it's obviously the person's fault that they're overweight, but the diets that people think are the best diets for them to go on. Oh, I'm not going to eat a lot of fat, are not the best, because fat makes you feel more full. When you eat a high carb diet, a highly refined carb diet, you're going to feel great for the first hour or two, but then you're going to crash and you're going to be hungry again and you're going to crave more carbs. Another thing that stops cravings too is potassium, because potassium binds to the glucose molecule, and that's used for energy. But without potassium, the sugar molecule is you can't use it. So then people just crave more and more sugar, and it's just a shame that people don't know this stuff, that it's not just a simple calories in versus calories out. Again, our body's complex. It adapts. It lowers the metabolism. Hormones are a big thing with fat loss. So, okay, so the last part, I'm gonna cover a study, a 7-year study done on calorie restricted diets. All right. So I want to talk about a study here that was done on long-term low calorie diets, 50,000 people, 7 years long. So this is a pretty comprehensive study here. Like I was saying, I don't like when they say low this, low that, because you don't know specifically what kind of foods they're feeding them. But um, but yeah, so this is the top one. The red is the control, so they just let them do what they want. And then the low calorie diet was they told the people they put them on a plan to eat lesser calories than the control. And just like I was saying, that at the beginning, yes, you do lose some weight, but then you plateau. You reach a point where you're done losing weight, and it doesn't go down and straight. It goes down and back up, because your body adjusts, and then you go right pretty. So they pretty much went right back to where they were. This is the starting weight right here, this dotted black line, and then they ended up just below that. So if the study if the study would have gone on another couple of years, or even another year, the trend is they would probably be right there. Um, back to where they were. And as you see, the control group ended up just above that black line. So very little difference. Again, the trend was that they would eventually meet probably in another year or two. But this just shows that just because you're eating less calories doesn't mean you're going to lose weight. Um, they should have kept going down if you're going to go by that logic. But no, your metabolism slows down and you go back to where you were. And if calories in, 3,500 calories in a gram of fat, or a pound of fat, if that's true, and if you decrease your calorie count, you should lose weight or gain weight if you increase it. Then why do fat people plateau? I mean, fat people don't keep gaining weight over the period of their lives. They reach a point, 250, 300 pounds, where they stop gaining weight. My dad's been 300 pounds for probably 10 years. I mean, why isn't he gaining more weight? So less calories don't equal weight loss. So I mean, this study proves it, and there's a lot of scientific evidence, like I was talking about, the DNL process, lipogenesis, where carbs turn into fat. So remember, not the quantity, but the quality of calories and the quality of your food, that matters. And there's also a lot, like I said, it's a complex process dealing with the quality of the calories. Not as much the quantity. I mean, obviously, you don't want to be eating 10,000 calories of fat per day, but the quality is the number one thing. And there's also hormones involved. When you eat too, and that's a whole different topic of intermittent fasting. So I think this was a good discussion about, it's not that simple of, oh, I'm going to decrease my calorie count by 500. No. Um, it's way more complex than that, and you have to worry about what calories you're eating, not how many. So there you go, people.